We are in Vicksburg, Mississippi. We stopped in at the visitor center. We talked to James. He gave us a couple of maps, told us a couple of places to go look at and see. So we're going to do a little Paducah, Kentucky thing like we did with a week and a day in Vicksburg. Here we go. Welcome to What Doin'. We're Deb and Aaron, two retirees originally from Washington State who love to travel the country, make new friends, have new adventures, scuba dive, hike, cook, and just about anything outdoors. Come along for the ride. You never know what kind of crazy adventures we're going to get mixed up in. And you never know what doing. One of our first stops was the Jesse Brent Lower Mississippi River Museum. Learn all about the Mississippi River and what's here in Vicksburg. A lot of Civil War history. This is the Mississippi 4. It's one of the displays here at the Lower Mississippi River Museum. Cool thing, we're gonna go in and check it out. Down here they have a model of the Mississippi River as it flows. The channel that you see out in front of there is one of the offshoots or the canals of the Mississippi where a lot of the work takes place. Little tug going down. It's kind of a cool place here. Inside the Mississippi 4, you can tour the entire ship from top to bottom. There's 5 different levels.
That is amazing. TRS 80 Radio Shack. How many have ever used a floppy disk drive?
The working bridge of the tugboat. I didn't realize the size and the enormity of these things, how wide they were, and how much they actually had inside them, and all the work that went on. Deb and I both got opportunities, her on the Carl Vincent and me on the Nimitz, to ride aircraft carriers from San Diego up to Bremerton, giving safety talks and new law changes. This kind of brings back some of the memories of what it was like on board the ship. A little different, but a little bit the same. The officer's mess. If you get a chance in Vicksburg, Mississippi, to stop by and go through this museum, it's pretty cool. So here's an interesting fact that I didn't know. The Mississippi comes from a word that means big water or the father of waters in the language of the Ojibwe or Chippewa Indians. I'm a Chippewa Indian. I didn't know that. Cool. You can tour the museum Monday through Saturday from 9 a.m. to 4 p.m. and Sunday from 1 to 4. They're closed on most major holidays, but this is definitely a stop that's worth your time. Directly across the street is the Catfish Row Museum. It'll provide a cultural heritage experience that showcases the unique and diverse aspects of Vicksburg, from its music, history, and storytelling to its vibrant food heritage, worship, and visual arts. The building was built in 1905 and is listed on the National Register of Historic Places. The Food for Thought exhibit has a demonstration kitchen to showcase the 6 major food cultures of Vicksburg. From Lebanese to Southern, soul food to Delta Chinese, and Jewish, and of course, barbecue. While we're on the subject of food, check out Rusty's Riverfront Grill. The fried green tomatoes, grilled grouper sandwich, the Death on 2 Legs, and caramel pecan cheesecake were all great. The Yazoo and Mississippi Valley Railroad Station. It's a museum that you can go into. Neat stuff. That is the Yazoo Channel that you can see with the brown water. And then the row of trees, and then on the other side of the trees is the Mississippi River. It's hard to imagine that it's getting close to Christmas. Today is 80 degrees. Nice. The Beidenhart Candy Company was famous for selling shoes and candy. But it became even more famous in 1894 when it became the first place in America to bottle Coca-Cola products and ship throughout the country. Prior to that, you could only get it at soda counters. This is the Yazoo Canal off of the Mississippi River. You see the level of where the water is. And the Mississippi has flooded a few times. The big one was in 1927. When you come down and look at the wall, you see just exactly how high the floodwaters rose. That's crazy. The 1927 is the very top one. And then you see downtown where the streets are. Man. The Mississippi River was a major feature in the Civil War, transporting supplies and troops to battle. At this location, the Confederates had established forts or gun emplacements on the high banks. A critical piece of General Ulysses S. Grant's plan was to attack Vicksburg from the east, from the river. On April 16, 1863, the Union flotilla successfully floated past this point. They were spotted, and within minutes the night sky blazed with light from the Confederates burning cotton bales and tar barrels. The Confederates knew exactly where to aim their cannons, and one boat was sunk, all the others were hit, but the Federal fleet would run the gauntlet. After over a year of trying, the Union Army was about to cross the Mississippi River. Today, the Mississippi River is a much more calm place. Take a stroll along the waterfront to admire the floodwall murals and learn more about the history of the mighty river and the city of Vicksburg. The McRaven house is supposed to be one of the most haunted places in Vicksburg. Let's see. The McRaven house is another antebellum house that survived the Civil War with a very active role. Just walking the grounds, you can sort of feel the presence of some of the early inhabitants. The home served as a field hospital, and there were many Confederate soldiers who died here, and several of the house's previous owners also died in the house or on the grounds, leading to the mystique of the place. History tours of the house are conducted Monday through Sunday. The original portion of the house was built in 1797 when George Washington was president. It was added on in 1836 and again in 1849. As each portion was added, the older portion remained as is. Maybe that's why the inhabitants and visitors still hang around the property today. It does have a certain creep factor. The crown jewel of Vicksburg has to be the Vicksburg National Military Park. Watch the 20-minute film which explains the events and gives you the information to really appreciate the rest of the displays. The displays outside at the visitor center give you an understanding of what the battle was like and how it was fought. Take a drive along the 16-mile loop as you enter under the archway commemorating the 1917 reunion of Civil War veterans. There are nearly 1,400 monuments and markers inside the park. You'll find the main battlefield at stop number 1. The Union line was here, and the cannons represent where they were during the battle. You can look across the field to where the Confederate lines were dug in. The Union siege of Vicksburg was successful because of places like this. At Battery de Gallier, the Union Army concentrated its cannons. Confederates spread theirs out. After the Confederate cannons fired, many of the Union guns replied, knocking out the enemy gun. Confederate General Pemberton moved his artillery back, and without the threat of enemy shells, the Union troops dug towards the Confederate lines. Battle de Gallier continued to pound the Confederate fortifications and troops, and after 47 days, the weakened Confederates were forced to surrender. The largest of all the battlefield monuments is the Illinois Memorial. Ringing the memorial are the words of Abraham Lincoln and Ulysses S. Grant, which say, "With malice towards none and charity for all, let us have peace." Above the entrance, you'll see 3 goddesses. On the left is Pax, the goddess of peace representing the north. On the right is Flora, the goddess of flowers representing the south, and in the middle is Clio, the muse of history. The eagle symbolizes the free republic. There are 47 steps to the memorial, representing one for each day of the siege. The entrance to the memorial intentionally faces directly south, not in mockery of the Confederates, but as a welcoming gesture, welcoming them back into the fold of the Republic. Inside are 60 tablets of bronze, inscribed with the 36,325 names of those from Illinois who served in the battle. The USS Cairo Museum pays homage to the city-class ironclad gunboats used during the war. It was the brownwater Navy or the shallow water boats that were able to take the Mississippi River. The Cairo was sunk after hitting mines in December of 1862, but recovered in 1964 and restored to what you see today. Directly across from the Cairo is the Union Cemetery, where 17,000 Union troops are buried. There was a sign there that I thought was particularly poignant. The neighing troop, the flashing blade, the bugle's stirring blast, the charge, the dreadful cannonade, the din and shout are past. The muffled drum sad roll has beat the soldier's last tattoo. No more on life's parade shall meet the brave and fallen few. There's one more stop we have to make, just a short drive across town, and then it's time to head home, and I'm going to show you how we make our chicken with shake. The Confederate Cemetery is known as Soldiers' Rest and is the final resting place of an estimated 5,000 Confederate soldiers. One of those graves belongs to Douglas the Confederate Camel. He was assigned to the 43rd Mississippi Infantry, aptly named the Camel Regiment. Tragically, on June 27, 1863, he was killed in action by a Union sharpshooter. Google Old Douglas the Confederate Camel for his full story. So lately we've had some questions on the shake and how much do you use, and it's not a rub, it's a spice mix. So, as a little added bonus, we're going to do our favorite vegetable and chicken medley with the shake. All I'm going to do is get the potatoes, the broccoli, the Brussels sprouts, and a sweet potato chopped up. We'll come back and I'll show you how we season it and how we throw everything into the oven and on the grill and get ready for dinner. Veggies are all chopped. I got our boneless, skinless chicken breasts here. This part's easy. Just a little bit of olive oil, just enough to make everything stick onto it. Take your shake, sprinkle it over the top, and it's not real thick. Just kind of enough for color, and then we're going to shake it in. Rotate it around a little bit. If you've used it already, you know there's a little bit of spice in there with the cayenne, so you can go a little heavier or you can go a little bit lighter, but it's all good. Throw it all in a sheet pan. Maybe a little bit more just because it's good. Now for the chicken, kind of the same thing. We're going to go a little bit of shake. Not real thick like a rub, just like a seasoning. Both sides. We'll go throw this on the grill. Alright, we're all preheated on the grill. This is the easy part. We're going to go down and down. The trick is, close them up, don't touch them, leave them there. We're going to go 7 minutes, 7 minutes, 4 minutes, and 4 minutes. So after 7, I'm going to come out and flip them 180 degrees, both of them. After 4, we're going to flip them 180 and turn them 90 degrees. Flip them the last 4 after the obnoxious car goes by. And then after 4 minutes, we'll be done. We'll see when it looks like when we're done. Here's the trick. I know with this grill, about 7 minutes is what it needs. If you go to lift and it sticks, it's not done. Let it go a little bit more. No stick, it's good to go. We're going to go 7 more minutes. So here we go. Oh yeah. That is going to work. Just a little shake. Throw it on the grill. Flip it, flip it, flip it a couple of times. We got some good stuff. It smells really good in the coach right now. Well, there you have a little of the history of Vicksburg, Mississippi. From the Mississippi River to the Civil War, steeped in history, lots of good stuff, lots of interesting facts, and a lot of good food. We'll catch you next time. You never know what doing.